investing coverage at Bloomberg Newspaper. I think I was getting a bit overexcited there. Talk to me about what was actually announced here, because the skeptic in me goes,
Well, we've talked to some.
It's 5 years, FYI.
Okay, so 3 to 5, maybe 5, emphasis on the 5 years.
You have time to go out for a
Loosely
run
termed.
if you're in the insurance industry.
We were comparing how this sounds similar to President Trump saying something will get done in the next 2 weeks.
Oh, it's the
3 to
new
5
3 to
years.
5 years,
Yeah.
and China is the new
Yes.
2 weeks.
Exactly.
Peggy, what can foreign companies, or what do foreign companies want to do with a 51% ownership stake that they couldn't do previously? But Julia, in the banking industry, you kind of question how much demand there is, because Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, they recently exited their stakes in some Chinese banks.
Yeah, I believe HSBC actually is the one now
Last
that
man
has
standing?
exactly in this sector. What about for these guys?
Well, the question is whether
Potential here, the management, the efficiency gains that perhaps having some Western influence, she says with a smile on her face, actually might bring to China.
It's true. Talked about how Manny Roman of PIMCO had talked about the intricacies of China. As you cover the asset management industry, have you heard other CEOs, other companies bring up China consistently as something that they want to tackle?
yes.
Hedged if one isn't doing as well. The other has been doing well.
ETF that's just 50-50 rebalanced between the two, so you just get the full exposure to his entrepreneurial
Well,
Well,
you
we
know.
can explore that on ETF IQ.
That'll be
We have a whole show you can talk about.
Shameless plug, 12:30 p.m. on Wednesdays.
Exactly.
Get Eric Balcunas to figure out how that would be
There's an
constructed.
ETF for that. That's always
It could be just the beginning of a new market for them.
right. I guess we got to leave it there.
All right, Julie Hyman, thank you so much.
Yes.
Coming up next, is the junk bond bubble ready to burst? Are we at an inflection point? We have the chart that may reveal the answer. Depends on how you look at it. This is Bloomberg. I'm Scarlet Fu. What you missed? One of the big themes this week in the markets is the sell-off in junk bonds, and investors are wondering if this is the start of something bigger. After all, credit always leads. Well, let's put this retreat into perspective here. This is from, they were really tight, they've gotten a little bit looser, but that creates vulnerabilities. And there were some isolated company-specific issues that were hitting certain issues that were making their vulnerabilities felt, but it's not like we're closer to economic fundamental default or anything like that. And by the way, he had downgraded U.S. credit in late October from overweight to neutral, mainly on a valuation call.
Great perspective. Still, it's going to be a lot in focus, I'm sure, at least
Yes.
the next week until this
Setting us up for
settles
next week.
down.
It's a national imperative.
Yeah. It's a national impact.
We're falling behind in the consumerism race. Trump needs to catch us up.
Yes.
All right, spend more. Go shopping this weekend. The market closes next.
I'm Julia Chatterley.
I'm Scarlet Fu.
And I'm Joe Weisenthal. If you're tuning in live on Twitter, we want to.
Sorry, I had to pick up something off the ground. All right, was that an actual technical term, a flash tiny
A flash
dip?
tiny dip.
Flash tiny
Yes.
dip. All right, for more on the markets, let's bring in Eric Stein. He's co-director of Global Income and Portfolio Manager at Eaton Vance Management and joins us now from...
Quickly put my head back up again, John. So what we've got, cash flow generated this year. If you back out pension...
Industrial company. I mean, I get having a downturn, but what does it mean for an industrial company to have a death spiral?
That's very insular in many ways. The CEOs tend to be GE lifers. John Flannery is a good example. He began at General Electric back in 1987. Jack Welch, for so long, was like the modeled CEO that everyone tried to be but couldn't quite do it. Do they need fresh blood from
really high on this dividend as well, so actually just chopping this in half perhaps sends a huge signal that actually now we mean business and we're going to try and turn this thing around and be told to shut up.
Investor base as well.
Yes, I know, but you've got to show commitment here, and this is what we're saying, shore up confidence. We have to go. I know we'll talk about this again. Rick, thank you so much for coming.
Coming up, what you need to know to gear up for next week. This is Bloomberg.
What'd you miss? Little change in U.S. stocks on the day. For the week, though, the Dow and the S&P lower, the Nasdaq eking out a gain.
A little more volatility than we've been used to.
Well, there hasn't been a whole lot. Now, coming up, don't miss
Nothing.
this. The ECB hosts a conference with Fed. That's how you know it's the tail end of the earnings season.
Yes,
when
Walmart is a
reports.
sign.
All right, that does it for What You Missed.
Bloomberg Technology is up next.
Have a great weekend. This is Bloomberg.